You ever just be sitting there playing Valorant and you realize that you are just really, really bad at the game? Well, I mean, I'm here to tell you that it's not you. It might be you. I'm not gonna lie. But it's probably just that your controller settings are not very good. You know what I mean? It's probably not you. I promise those 2 for 35 games in ranked can be fixed. I promise you. Okay, all jokes aside, it has been nearly 2 months since I last put out a video on controller settings, and my opinion on quite a few things has changed as, you know, I've gotten better and more comfortable with certain things, tried more settings out, and also just the fact that a lot of people ask for my settings on pretty much every video, so I figured I might as well make another one. Also, I know I say this every time, but just because you guys see me using a certain setting in this video does not mean it is going to be the best for you. Yes, I am going to recommend certain settings that I think are better than others, but at the same time, I would still recommend testing things out for yourself, seeing what you personally like, because just copying down what I use is not going to give you the best results. And I mean, same thing goes for any other YouTuber's video. If you just copy their settings word for word, bar for bar, it may not work for you as good as you would hope. Okay, so getting straight into it with the general settings, not much has really changed since my last video. Rotate map with player is still something I would recommend having on. This just makes it a little bit easier to line up wall bangs and things like that. And also placing smokes, using fade prowlers, it just feels way more natural. Change orientation, completely up to you. I have it off. Now, nothing else really matters on this page outside of minimap size and minimap zoom. I would recommend personally having these pretty low. I keep both of them on 0.9. That makes my minimap look like this right here, so I can see essentially everything. I mean, you guys see those little bot enemies right there. If I go all the way over here and my teammate is pinging them, I'll still be able to see it. That's basically the whole idea of having your map small, whereas I'll show you guys right here. If I set my minimap to something like this, you guys are gonna see it takes up like 1/4 of my screen, is very distracting, and when I get far away, those same bots are already off the map when I'm right here. That is very, very bad, especially if your teammate spots somebody, because you're basically just gonna have a rough idea of where that enemy is, whereas if you had a regular minimap that was nice and zoomed out, you would be able to see the enemy very easily. So yeah, don't have your minimap taking up 1/4 of your screen. I also do want to quickly mention that map cursor speed was not actually a setting in the game when I made my last video, and what this does is basically it affects how fast you move your little mouse thingy on the map. And this really does not seem very significant unless you are playing somebody like, let's just say Clove, for example. When you're using Clove, when you open up your smoke menu, this is the only thing it really affects, if I'm being completely honest. So just, I guess, keep this a little bit lower if you want more precise smokes, although I don't really find myself messing these up ever. But if you struggle with it, like I said, just keep it lower. If not, I mean, you could make it higher to smoke faster. Whatever floats your boat, if I'm being completely honest. Oh yeah, also, please do not turn off minimap vision cones for whatever reason. This is low-key one of the most important settings in the game because it allows you to see exactly what angles your teammates are holding, so please keep it on. As for the rest of the general settings, these really don't matter that much outside of maybe enemy highlight color. I put this on yellow, Protonopia to be exact. I think there's a different yellow right there. I don't really notice a difference, but I mean, I guess it helps your brain register people faster. I mean, I don't know. It's all placebo, but I feel like it does something. Bullet tracers, I would keep on. And then first-person handness, keep it on right. All right, listen, if you play on left, you stay away from me. All right, just stay away from me. You're a little strange. Moving on, though, it's time to talk about the more important controller settings, starting off with buttons. Now, I don't use anything special. I literally use the traditional button layout with nothing changed because that works for me. Although I will say I do play claw. What I would recommend doing for your buttons is just mapping these in whatever way feels comfortable for you. I know that's a very boring answer, but I'm not going to sit here and say that you need to put your crouch on RT or something weird like that because there's no like scientific best button layout. It's just whatever works for you. And the same thing kind of goes with your sensitivities. These are also just whatever really works for you. If you want to use 10, use 10. If you want to use 6, use 6. I don't really care. What actually matters in your sensitivity settings that will completely cook your aim if it's not good is your inner dead zone, your outer dead zone, and your aim curves. If you have these set to something that really does not fit your aiming style or, sync up with your sensitivity, it is going to feel very bad. And once you fix it, you are going to see how night and day that difference is. And what's actually really nice about curves now is Valorant gives you a graph on the right side. The left obviously being how it starts, the right side being how it finishes. So you see linear, starts off, finishes the same. Every other curve is going to start off a little bit slower and then get faster, but to a different degree. Heavy right there, extreme, aggressive. I don't even know what the hell is going on there. Wouldn't really recommend that one. I'm going to be completely honest. When it comes down to base aim curves, the only ones I would really recommend anybody uses are heavy, extreme, or standard. Standard is good for, your low to mid sensitivity, and then higher sensitivity players use heavy or extreme. These are by far the best. I wouldn't really mess with anything else, if I'm being completely honest. Light is good for these other things. And speaking of light, don't change them for focus, ADS, or sniper. I feel like light is absolutely perfect. I've been using it since I started playing. Nothing has felt as smooth as light, if I'm being completely honest. But as I was saying, for base curves, these other ones, just don't even use them. Like, if I catch one of y'all using aggressive aim curve, what even? It literally looks like a snake. Y'all are aiming like that? No, bro, no. No human being is aiming in like a little tidal wave, flicking around and stuff. Nobody's doing that, all right? What the hell even is that? And don't even get me started if I catch you using delayed. If you are using delayed, what is that? Okay, enough of that delayed nonsense. We got to quickly talk about inner and outer dead zone. You guys need to understand that stick drift is not a bad thing, all right? So many people will sit here and say that you need to have your inner dead zone at something like 0.1. That way you can have no stick drift. But this will not give you very good control of your aim. I don't want to see y'all doing this because it's not going to feel good. In my opinion, what I have found the most success with is lowering your inner dead zone to where you have a minimal amount of stick drift. If you can put this on 0 and your stick only moves a little bit by itself, that is genuinely perfect. I know that's not going to be most controllers, but stick drift is actually a good thing because it means your input is getting registered. And in a game like Valorant, where you need to be very precise and make micro adjustments, having a very responsive input is a good thing. Also, when it comes down to outer dead zone, the only things I would ever recommend is 1 or 0.99, depending on your controller. If your controller is better with 1, by all means do that. If it's better with 0.99, do that. Either one can be good, but you don't want to have 1 when your controller needs 0.99, if you know what I mean. Moving on from that though, we need to talk about movement settings. As for walk and run threshold, I recommend having this at 0.899. It feels really good. It's on 0.9 by default, which is also fine, but I feel like 0.89 just feels better. I don't know, maybe I'm delusional, who knows? Movement dead zone, have this anywhere between 0.2 and 0.4. You don't want it too low, but you also, you don't really want it too high at something like 0.5, otherwise you might feel a little bit sluggish. But having it at 0.3 allows you to counter strafe pretty easily. Just me personally, it feels the best at 0.3. Y'all could debate a wall, but 0.3, perfect. As for advanced settings, there's a few things I want to point out here. Left, right trigger dead zone, put this at 0.01, no excuses. This is the best place to have it at. Walk while in focus should be off. This is an absolute crutch setting if it's on, and you need to learn how to walk while not being focused. It's just a horrible setting, and you can't do things like counter strafe. It's just horrible. It is an absolutely horrible setting if you want to actually use focus to aim. And then dampen shooting sensitivity. Personally, I don't think it's good. I've changed my mind on it. I thought it was good for a little bit, and then I kind of realized it feels very unnatural, and I think it kind of builds bad habits. As for the rest of these settings, I don't really think anything in audio is that important, but I've heard that this HRTF setting is God tier, so I don't know. I've been playing with it. Have I noticed any difference? Not really. I don't really care that much, but it's something, I guess. Anyways, though, that is pretty much going to do it for today's video. If this did end up helping you guys out, I would greatly appreciate it if you left a like and a comment letting me know what you thought. If you are new around here, it never hurts to hit that subscribe button. Anyways, it's been Gravely. Peace.